She walked to the podium like a lemur at an introvert anonymous meeting. Dana. What kind of name is that for a dame?
Hey, don't mind me and my hernias. The rough and
I waited backstage like a 7-year-old hound dog waiting to be adopted from the pound.
the rough
Little did
and
the audience know the truth bombs I was about to drop. The audience, from the comforts of their big screen TVs and restaurant reservations. Will I even make a difference?
Hello?
Would it matter if I did?
Hello? The rough
Dana spoke.
the the rough and tumble life a grocery store security guard often goes unnoticed by everyday shoppers. But Jordy Gillaspy is here to shine his mag light on the dark and loathsome corners of the grocery store security business. Here to read excerpts from his anthology, Clearance Sale on Justice. Please welcome Jordy Gillaspy.
Can't smoke in here. What is this, a Whole Foods? Just going to read some excerpts from my anthology series. Here's an excerpt from The Case of the Lady Who Ignored Me. The moment she walked into Krugerman's, I could tell she was a dame with the weight of the world on her shoulders. She paused a moment in front of my desk, which was really just a metal folding chair next to a stack of plastic milk crates, but in this crazy mixed-up world, a man makes do with the little he gets. She wore a gray blazer, real professional type up top, but her skirt told a different story. Real professional type down low. Those gams ran straight from her belly button to Brazil. I couldn't take my eyes off of her like a sicko at the aftermath of a train wreck. She continued to pause, reading a small notebook. So, I thought, this must be what a lion feels when he sees a gazelle stopping to get a drink from a cool Saharan oasis. Wiping the powdered sugar off my uniform, I strolled up beside her as casual as a kitten. Say, honey, you lost? I was the only one who smiled at my joke. Her face was stone. I tell you one thing's for sure, I'd never play poker with this broad. No, she said. Then she walked away, out of my life forever. Maybe I'd see her again, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but soon. She'd be out of groceries and will eventually have to come crawling back. It wouldn't be the first time. The next reading is an excerpt from Paper or Plastic or Death. How's the coffee, Phil? Asked Tommy the bag boy. Tasteless as a roadhouse blonde and strong enough to build a garage on, I said. Bag boy. Title didn't fit this kid. For one thing, he was about 55 years old. He had a tattoo on his neck. He said it was the Chinese word for wisdom. But to me, it just translates to, I'll be a bag boy for the rest of my life. 2 tats on his hands. On his left, P-A-P-E-R. On his right, P-L-A-S-T-I-C. Tommy was a good egg. Thanks, Phil, said Tommy. What for? I replied. Oh, he said, you were just talking funny out loud like you do sometimes. You said Tommy was a good egg. I clammed up. It gets lonely being the only guy who gives a damn about justice in this crazy mixed-up grocery store. I slipped my mitts into my pockets and just drifted with the tide and found myself at the self-checkout where all the action takes place. There she was, the gal of my dreams. Her class and desperation went together like milk and beer. Something in my gut told me something was wrong, fishy, queer, strange. She was waiting for cash back. At least that was her story. She was waiting for the cashier to get it for her. Oh yeah, I said, with the skepticism of a waitress who's been asked for a doggy bag for some French fries. Nobody's going to eat those cold fries. I snatched the receipt from her hand. She gasped. She was right to. This was an entirely inappropriate thing for a grocery store security guard to do. But I had my reasons. This was a special case. For one, her shopping cart was all screwy. Sugar-free peanut butter, but regular jelly. It just didn't add up. Boy, if a receipt could sing, this little piece of thermal paper would be in the hallelujah chorus. $400 cash back? Really? The whole PB&J thing made sense in a way. Maybe she was keeping someone on the side, or maybe she wasn't so golden-hearted. In my experience here in the lowest depths of depravity, in a world where people leave discarded refrigerated items in the bread aisle, where unattended empty shopping carts are ripe for the picking, where marriages end over an argument about what kind of toilet paper to buy, in my experience, when people act worried and draw big dough from the bank, I could smell shakedown. But you don't need any flatfoot to tell you that. You're going to have to buy the book to find out what happens. And finally, an excerpt from a little story called Hard Boiled. I believe it was Lawrence Block who wrote, "Sometimes it's a dog-eat-dog world, and the rest of the time it's the other way around." I couldn't agree more. Some neighborhood punks crashed the store like a hurricane that's been invited over for Thanksgiving. I told these no-good lollipops to hit the bricks, but they did just the opposite. They hit the linoleum. Sure, I wanted to track them down, but I wanted to nab these little screwballs and send them up the river, but I was contractually obligated to remain in the boundaries of the customer service desk, the checkout aisle 12, the Coinstar machine, and the front door. They had me right where they wanted me. I watched with egg on my face as they danced around the aisles, making eye contact with me, pointing and laughing, holding out their cupped arms as if to demonstrate that my plump physique was much more large and unwieldy than it is. I'm heavy, sure, but I'm not that fat. You got the wrong guy, I tell you. Either that or your headlights need replaced. They laughed as if I inadvertently told a joke and continued to run amok all over Krugerman's. That's when I saw it, the little ginger kid. You know the type. With so many freckles, he looks like someone with a mouthful of gravy did a spit take on a ghost. He was holding a box of zebra cakes and moving them back and forth as if he was sexually assaulting the box. That was the last straw. Nobody does that to my little Debbie. See, in this crazy mixed-up world, a guy has got to keep cool just enough to find a way to give someone the wallop they deserve. That's when I remembered a loophole. The restroom break rules. I could violate my post if I had to use the bathroom, but I didn't really have to use the bathroom. I strutted like a bull entering a bull ring. I slammed my badge and pepper spray on Mr. Krugerman's desk, looked him dead in the eyes, and said, "I have to go to the bathroom." I turned and walked away. Oh, he tried to stop me by saying things like, "Excuse me, Phil, I'm sorry, I'm busy on the phone. Can this wait? Thanks." But it wouldn't work. To catch the bad guys, you gotta think like a bad guy, and that's why all the best detectives have a dark side. I grabbed a 3-pound bag of red potatoes. This cost me $2.99, but so be it. I slipped around the dessert cake section with my bag of little Irish cannonballs, and bam! Nailed that melon with a Spud missile. That tater hit that redhead so hard, it'll be double coupon day before he wakes up again. I sniffed out the rest of the crooks in a heartbeat. There they were in the dairy section, real quiet like. I blocked off every aisle to the dairy section with slippery when wet signs to ensure no bubble-headed sap would wander into the starchy carnage that was about to take place. I jumped out from behind a large cardboard cutout of a Guernsey cow. Bam, 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 freeze! But the big one took that as his cue to slowly grab a carton of eggs and opened a lid. All right, you nutcases. We can do this the easy way, or we can do this my way. I was swinging the bag of potatoes over my head like a bike chain. The big guy looked worried and ever so deftly selected an egg from the carton. I kicked the customer service button with my foot and shouted into the speaker as I passed it, "We're gonna need a cleanup on aisle 6.